Hello everybody, my name is Jen Schrader and I'm with City Communications, and in honor of International Women's Month, I am really fortunate to be here with 4 of our wonderful female firefighters for the Colorado Springs Fire Department. And so we're going to ask them a little bit about themselves to give you kind of an idea of what it's like to be a female firefighter and possibly hear some fun stories along the way. So thank you all for being with me, and first I would like for you all to please introduce yourself, tell us how long you have been a firefighter, your rank, and why you decided to become a firefighter. So we will start with Marie.
Hi. My name is Marie Geringer. I've been with the fire department for 5 years. I'm a firefighter at Station 4. And I decided to become a firefighter because I had my degree in business management and I tried really hard to like working in an office. And in an attempt to like working in an office, I started volunteering as a firefighter in my spare time and fell in love with that and said, people get paid to do this instead. So that's what I decided I wanted to do.
Nice. That's kind of similar with me.
Oh, cool.
Hi, everyone. My name's Allie Pacheco. I'm a firefighter at Station 7 on the B shift. I've been with the CSFD for almost 6 years now. Kind of similar to Marie, I worked an office job. At the time, I was a single mom and just really wanted to do something different with my life. So I did a ride-along and then became a volunteer firefighter with a neighboring department, and then got on with the Springs. Been here ever since. I love it.
All right, my turn. So hi, everybody. I am Jamie McConaughey, and I'm Deputy Chief of Emergency Medical Services. I've been on the department for 27 years, which I can't believe when I say that out loud. But how did I come to this profession? So sometimes I wish I had that story of my grandfather was a firefighter, my uncle was a firefighter, but I don't have that. So my story, what led me to the fire service, was I got married very young, I had 3 children very young, and I got divorced really young. And I was uneducated and unemployed and trying to figure out how I was going to raise my kids. And I had a couple of friends, really good friends, that were police officers, and they said to me, you need to be a firefighter, you are perfect for it. And at that time, 29 years ago, I had zero idea what that meant. But I trusted their advice and I started taking the steps toward the profession, and every step I took, I fell more and more in love with it, and 27 years later, I love it just as much as the first day that I started in the academy. So,
I am Juliet Draper, Captain Juliet Draper, and I've been in the fire service, let's see, in December it will be 35 years. Woo!
Wow. Woo.
That's a day or two.
Bravo, bravo.
That's a day or two. And I'm a captain, and I've just decided to become a firefighter because back in the 70s, yes, I remember the 70s, we used to have those shows, much like you do now, you know, Station 19, Chicago Fire. Back then it was Emergency and SWAT and Beretta. And my dad and I would watch these shows, and I would sit next to him and go, Daddy, when I grow up, I want to be a fireman and a policeman and a soldier. And to his credit, the quintessential girl dad, he said, and I quote, you can do whatever you want to do. And so it never dawned on me that those jobs were not an option. And so when the time came, the first time I ever took the test, I was 19 years old. I wasn't as smart, but I was big and strong, you know, so I had a good time with the physical ability. But Dad said I could do it, so here I am.
Go Dad. Okay, so first question, and maybe I'll start with Chief McConaughey, which maybe you can kind of expand on what you said. Talk to us about what your experience has been like as a female firefighter.
That is an interesting question, and so it. I like to take the female part out of it, to be quite honest with you.
Wouldn't that be nice? And then we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, but it is a mindset,
yes,
right? So
yes.
I didn't come into this not knowing there were hundreds of men that I was going to be working with. You know, I was very well aware of that. And I never really wanted to be viewed as a female. I wanted to be viewed as a firefighter, and that's how I've been my entire career, and it has really served me well. I didn't want to be set apart from, I wanted to be a part of. And that's been my intention in my career.
And what about you, Captain Draper? Have you seen it shift or change at all since you started 35 years ago?
Oh, it's a lot has changed.
Yes.
But I think Chief is right about, I just want to do this job. I just want to have fun. I want to giggle. I want to, jump on the big red fire truck and go down the street and, oh boy, look, there's a fire. I just want to do all that stuff. And so, the whole female part is that's a whole nother situation, and if I can keep a positive attitude about me and my brothers and my sisters, it's all good. But things have changed. The technology has changed. Our equipment has changed. It's gotten lighter, but the tanks are heavier for some reason. But, it's still the same job. And it's still the same familial kind of environment, so that if we're a crew, we are together for 24 hours. And if Marie doesn't like broccoli and I make broccoli, we're going to have a situation, right? So, all of those elements are still there. But a few things have changed, but not much. We take the fire hose, we go into the fire, and we do what we're supposed to do, and we come back out and go back to the station and do it again.
And hopefully change for the better where you're seeing more females.
Absolutely.
Right?
That'd be great.
That's
That'd
a
be
good
great.
thing. Allie, let me start with you on this next question. What has been the biggest challenge that you faced as a firefighter?
So I think one of the biggest challenges that I faced kind of go hand in hand when I first got onto the department. There's this physical aspect of it where, you have to be prepared to go into your academy, make sure that you're in cardio shape, that you're physically strong enough to do the job and stuff like that. So prepping for that. But I think one of the biggest challenges I faced was actually being a mom and going through the academy. At the time, I had a 2-year-old and a 9-year-old, I guess. Yeah, 9 and 2-year-old. And so being able to kind of go through the whole academy process, and then switch to working 24-hour shifts and then being away from my family was a really big adjustment. I don't think that if I didn't have the support that I had at home between my husband and then my mom helping out as well, because my husband is a firefighter as well on the job, so we kind of have that uniqueness. But if I didn't have that support system, I don't think I would have been able to be where I'm at today without them. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's probably true for a lot of people. Marie, what unique qualities or skills do you feel you bring to being a firefighter?
I had a hard time with this one because I think that I'm not very unique. I think that I have the privilege of working with 500 other people who will grind until the job is done and will work hard, and they want to train every day. They want to be excellent for each other and for our community.
And they would probably say the same about you.
I hope so. I hope so. And so I think that is unique to firefighting.
Yes.
And I think I have those qualities as well. But that's part of what I love about it, is that everybody wants to work all of the 24 hours that we're on shift. You're racing people to do work, to make coffee, to answer the calls, to throw the ladder, to do whatever needs done.
The work ethic is something you don't see in every area.
No, and it's amazing.
That's awesome. Okay, so next question is, how do you think the fire service could increase the number of female applicants? So maybe we go back to Captain Draper. What's the strategy? I know there's probably not just one, but.
There isn't just one. Well, I can say for me, my first introduction to actually getting my hands on a nozzle was in the military. So I was a firefighter in the Army at Fort Carson Fire Department, not far from here, and I was the only girl on the fire department. But I know that looking at myself in the mirror and my affect and I'm a big strong girl, and I'm not scared, and I look people in the face, and I did not have a lot of difficulty necessarily, but I don't know that that'd be difficult with me if I were me, but that kind of introduced me to the city fire department. And so, one thing led to another. Once I got out of the Army, I was primed and ready to do this gig. But I think our military partners are a great resource, a great asset. The thing about military girls is they can dig ditches and shoot guns and, run and jump and fight, and you need those things. You need to be able to dig deep, and you need to be able to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, and then we got to keep going. and then we got to go to the bathroom and come back and keep going. You know, because that's how it is here. You know, you don't get to leave, you don't get to stop, you don't get to quit. We got to remove that Q word from your vocabulary. No quitting. So, and a lot of our military folks have that same kind of mentality and that same kind of gumption.
And we're
And
lucky
so,
here. We have those pools
A
to
bunch
draw
of
from.
huge pools.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That's a good one. Chief, what do you think? What do you think in terms of increasing the number of female applicants and recruiting the next generation of female firefighters?
Yeah.
What do we do?
I think there's really something to be said for seeing people doing the job, right? Like I grew up in the 70s and early 80s and I didn't see females being firefighters. Now I loved firefighters and fire engines, you know, like would make my mom, I'll follow the fire engine, but for a completely
see
different
yourself.
reason.
You didn't
I
see
didn't
it.
see myself,
Yes.
you know. So I wish I would have, because I joined the department when I was 32. And I wish I had joined it 10 years earlier, you know, but I didn't, it wasn't, if the, like I mentioned earlier, if, you know, 2 police officers hadn't told me I was perfect for this, I wouldn't have known I was, you know, so that was just by chance. So now I think we have an opportunity to be more intentional and be out there more visibly, and that in and of itself will help increase the numbers, and also targeting the audiences that might be applicable to more women, giving this some consideration, like athletes and schools and, you know, all that work that we already do. But I don't know, it's just like reminding little girls that this could be a possibility for them. You
And
know?
good point. Start young.
Yeah, absolutely.
Start in the schools.
Absolutely.
Start when they're small so that they
Yeah.
do start when they're in
Right.
their 20s instead of their 30s.
Yeah, there's this awesome commercial by, I'm not exactly sure what it's by, but it's about girl empowerment. And it's like, win like a girl. And it's about run like a girl, throw like a girl, hit like a girl. And being proud of that, which means I don't have to do it exactly the same way. I just have to do it, you know, and to be proud of that. And I know I felt that in my career. Like I've never felt like I had to do it exactly like, you know, the 6'3", 200-pound guy did it. I just had to do it, you know, and figure that out for myself. So I think people seeing us do the job and how much we like our jobs and how proud we are to serve our community, I think that's where we make the greatest impact.
So thanks for doing this panel, because this is all part of it, is spreading that word. Okay, so next question. What is the best thing about being a firefighter? I know it's probably hard to narrow it down, but Allie, you want to start?
Sure. So I think one of the things for me, the best thing about being a firefighter is I grew up in Colorado Springs, so this is my home. So to be a firefighter in my city is really rewarding, because if you would have asked me back in high school, I would have never pictured myself going this route. I sometimes will be coming back from calls and, you know, it'll be like late at night. And I remember specifically on probation sitting in the back of Engine 9 and we went on some medical, and I just remember like it was quiet outside, it was dark, and I just thought like this is probably the coolest feeling to just be able to be here and serve in a different capacity than I ever pictured my life going. And I think just making those connections with the community, like Chief and Cap have been saying about like kind of being a face for others and things like that, is just a rewarding experience. There's a number of things that we're required to know as a firefighter, but I feel like it's an honor to have the privilege to just be able to help people, you know, whether it's their worst day or their best day, but we get to be a part of that and then just be a face in the community. So.
Yes, that's wonderful. How about you, Marie? What's your favorite part, if you can name one? Probably hard to name one.
Yeah, also those. I love how much there is to know. There's 24, almost 25 stations. There's disciplines within those stations. There's different ranks and positions and roles that you can fill.
And opportunities.
And opportunities. And I don't think there is a career where you could learn everything there is to know. There's all those disciplines, and then things are always changing. And so there's always something new to learn. There's always something that has changed since you were last at work. You used to know it, and now it's different.
Keeps you humble.
It does, it does. And so it's engaging and a tremendous challenge, but one that's so fun to get to do every day.
That's awesome. Okay, so next question. What would you say, Captain Draper, to women who might be considering becoming a firefighter?
Eat your Wheaties. Bring it. I tell you what, this, I have a saying, T-SAFE, T-S-A-F-E. This stuff ain't for everybody. And, it was important for me personally to know myself and what I could do and couldn't do and what I was able to stomach and not stomach before I came here. And, those things are important. Our legacy in the fire service is, from the prison system and from, immigrants and Ben Franklin and that whole situation. And, it's a rough gig. It is a rough gig, but it can be done. You can learn. We will teach you. If you got it, bring it, and don't be afraid. I always say things about my big girls, 'cause a lot of times, because I'm 5'9", 180, and, sometimes I look at my academy classes, and I'm like, where are all the big girls at? What's going on with that? I got all these little girls out here. Where the big girls at? And this is a
But
place.
like Chief said, athletes.
Yeah. But this is a great gig for big girls.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, a lot of times the big girls get caught up in trying to be a little girl. Be a big girl and come on to my fire department and we can do something with you. We can make some things happen. You can make some good money, get your nails did every weekend if you want to, boo-boo.
Or don't.
Or don't. You know what I mean? And so, bring it. If you got it, bring it. I can't wait to see somebody else come out here and do this thing. Because we getting, me and Chief, we at the end. We've been here a day or two, and, I'm looking forward to some passing it. I'm passing the torch to my youngins down there, But bring it. And come strong, come ready. Please know that this is difficult. This is the 4 Ds: difficult, dirty, demanding, dangerous. Difficult, dirty, demanding, dangerous. I wash my hands constantly and they are still always dirty. Blue collar. You're going to be shoveling poop and, lifting folks. But it is so rewarding, like Allie and Marie were saying, we go down the street, the big red fire truck goes down the street and people are like, hey, that's a big red fire truck. Hey, I'm sitting in the front of the big red fire truck.
But if you hear those things, if people are listening to you and they're hearing those things and they're saying, that sounds demanding and difficult, but it also sounds good.
Exciting,
appealing to me.
Yes.
Then you might want to think about
Absolutely. We have a great schedule. We make decent money. I am not mad.
it. Chief, what do you think?
Well, my gut thing to say is, if you hate men, this is not the profession for you.
Fact.
I'm just being real.
That's true.
You need to be okay with working predominantly with men. It's been a rare occurrence in my entire 27 years that I've had another female on the crew with me, even for a day. Let alone, I've never had someone stationed with me,
We'd like
a
to see
female
that
stationed
change, I
with me.
assume.
Yeah, it's a numbers thing, right? And so that's with increasing the numbers. But we want to increase the numbers in the right way. Right? We want women that really want to be here. And like Cap was saying, like there's so many things we can do to overcome. Like I'm not 5'9", 180 and neither are these ladies, and we're here doing the same job that she is because we've had to learn how to overcome, whatever our weaknesses are in our own bodies, and there are absolutely ways to do that without a doubt. And so, it's like you have to kind of want to work with men too.
No, that's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
And I would say, just to kind of piggyback off that too, is that at least of my time being with Springs, the men who have poured the amount of time to like get my knowledge base up on building construction and when I was learning to become a relief driver and driving the engine, things like that, those guys spent some really good quality time and invested in me in order to help me become the firefighter and the relief driver that I am today. And I am incredibly thankful for that because we work with a lot of smart guys. And I just appreciate, obviously, like I never came from that background. I didn't have a father growing up. It was just my mom and I. So mechanical things like that just were not something that I was really in tune to. And when I got on the job, I had those guys to really lean into, and they've made me become the firefighter I am today. And hopefully I make them proud, but like I really appreciate the time that they took to pour into that. And so, but you've got to be open to the feedback. You've got to be open to that constructive criticism. And then you've got to want to do better and make those adjustments so that then, we're safe, everyone's safe, we all go home to our families.
Yes,
So.
that's really great points. And you bring up a great point, if I could flip it to the other side and say that women a lot of time can offer things that perhaps men cannot. And that has a lot to do with your upbringing as well, and the things that you were taught or not taught. So do you see that positive influence being a female firefighter? Marie, maybe you can speak to it, of perhaps more nurturing, compassionate, some of those stereotypical female, that of course that doesn't mean males do not have those, but perhaps they have to be taught a little bit more, like she needs the mechanic tune-up, and sometimes that can be what female firefighters contribute.
I do notice that when we're on calls, the other female firefighters that I work with definitely have those qualities, but I'm always amazed at the depth of compassion that everyone
That any firefighter has.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so maybe it doesn't come as naturally to others. Maybe it does come more naturally to us or to women in general. But I have been incredibly touched by the amount that people genuinely care, just from the get-go.
It's kind of a prerequisite for the job.
Correct. Yeah. So.
Yes. That's wonderful. Anyway, just wanted to point out you guys are bringing amazing things to the table also. So last thing is, I would love to hear some memorable or funny stories. They don't have to be funny. You don't have to be crack us up, but or memorable from your time as a firefighter. And I'll start with you, Captain Draper, longest here, right? Longest serving. What stands out as something that's been memorable in your career? It can be a specific incident or just something in general about your time as a firefighter.
Well, this job has taught me more about compassion than anything else. And that any of us at any time could be in the shoes of the people that we are here to serve. And that the main thing that we need to remember in the fire service is that this is a job of service. A lot of people want to do this job because, there's a lot of perks. Let's be real. People like you, oh, you're a firefighter. Hey, here's 10 cents off your Slurpee or whatever, But we at 2 o'clock in the morning, when you got to get up, and Gram took a tumble, bless her heart, she didn't make it to the pot. We got to get Gram up, we clean her up, we put her back in bed. Is there anything else we can do for you, Gram, while we're here? And that's the name of the game, is the service. And so I had that situation, I've been 1,000 years ago at Station 3, and this young lady, she couldn't get to the pot and she didn't make it, and everybody wanted to do this whole, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to, burrito thing, just kind of wrap you up in whatever you're in and stick you in the ambulance. And I just was like, stop. And I had daughter go get me a bucket of soapy water and a wash rag, and we got Gram cleaned up, and she was just so grateful, bless her soul. But the kids called because they didn't want to do it. They called 911 because they didn't want to do it. And I'm just like, well, we're going to do this then because we serve. And
Much more dignified for her
absolutely,
to be dressed and comfortable.
Absolutely. She gave me that look, and somebody made the suggestion to wrap her up. She gave me that look, and I was like, I got you, Gram. And so we hooked her up and got her cleaned up, and we get to serve. We get the opportunity to serve.
Privilege.
It's a privilege to serve. When I first got my first T-shirt back in the days of Tuxall, that used to be our uniform place. We go in there and you get a bunch of T-shirts before you start your academy, and I laid the T-shirt down on my bed and it said Colorado Springs Fire. I was in tears because I was just like, they chose me. I get to go do this. Man, that's awesome, And so we get the opportunity to serve. So 35 years later, here it is.
That is great. That's the theme. What about you, Chief? Does anything stand out for you? Yes.
Very, very much so. I mentioned early on, about how my path here, right? Like I didn't have this family history of, my grandfather was a firefighter, all that stuff, right? So, I also mentioned 3 little boys, right? Single mom, 3 little boys. So my most memorable moment was in 2017 when I put a badge on my youngest son, who put a badge on me when he was 4. And so I am the first female firefighter to welcome a child onto the department. We have lots and lots of fathers and sons, but I'm the first mother and son. And so now our story starts. Now
Right.
he says, well, my mom was a firefighter. And maybe his son says, well, my dad and my grandma was a firefighter. So Or Lovey, that's my grandma name.
Yeah.
So Lovey was a firefighter.
That's awesome. Yeah. That is very emotional. Yeah. How about you, Allie?
There's
Hard
a
to
lot.
choose
It's
just
it's
one,
hard
huh?
to choose, but I'll say one thing that I really just appreciate, like, you know, through my time on the job so far, is just the stories that I make with my crew members, and just the table talk and the jokes and everything like that. Like, we laugh and laugh and laugh. And the crews that I've been, even if I'm shipped out and I really don't work with that crew, you know, on a day-to-day basis, we still are a department made up of so many good people that there's at least not a point in the day where I'm sitting down talking to someone and sharing a joke and laughing, or, you know, hearing about, like, what are their kids doing or all that kind of stuff. And I really appreciate that, because it makes the time when I'm away from my own girls and working that 24 hours, it makes it feel like I'm still home, if that makes sense, because now I don't feel like I'm missing out so much with them, and it makes it bearable. But also to the fact that just, you know, we share these stories, we hear calls that they've been on for years and things like that, and then we make our own memories on calls and things like that, and it's fun. It's really fun, and I just feel honored that I get to be a part of that. So.
Sounds like a second family. Yes. How about you? What's most memorable so far for you?
Oh, wow. So I was on probation at Station 2 when the Bear Creek fire came in, and it was a very large wildland urban interface event. But you don't know that when it starts. You just know that the lights go off and you were headed to somewhere else to run an errand. And so we got all of our wildland stuff on. It was like 9 or 10 in the morning, maybe. Excuse me. And we went and we fought fire all day. We stretched simple hose lays. We dug hand line. It was hot. It was dirty. It was summer. No, it was not. It was November. Cut that. But it was so much work. And we did that until 7 or 8 at night. And then we got changed over to a new job on that same scene. And we were looking for hot spots, making sure that the neighborhood the fire was under control like we thought it was. And then we went back to the station and we all showered, we got into bed, and it was about midnight. And 45 minutes later, the light went off again. And it was someone who needed help back into their bed. And they didn't know what we had done all day, and it didn't matter. And I got into the rig and I said, this is it. I'm doing it. I really get to do this. This is amazing. And so that was just a really good day.
So hard and so great.
So wonderful in so many ways.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, thanks for all the stories. Thank you for sharing your experiences, and thank you for helping to recruit, hopefully, the new generation of men and women into firefighting. We appreciate it. And thank you all for being here and for listening and for joining us. Happy Women's History Month.